Trekkers and Trekkies. So, you here to get your rocks off? So am I. Okay, so you want to do a diorama that's got some boulders or rocks because your figures need to be photographed in front of rocks. Well, you could carry around a bunch of these, but that's going to get heavy because just this probably a good 4 pounds, 3.5, 4 pounds. I don't know for sure. I'm kind of guessing. I'm pretty good at guessing the weight. So, a few of these, your backpack's going to get heavy real quick. So, today I am going to show you how instead of carrying around a bunch of these, you can make rocks, big bunch of rocks and rock formations from styrofoam, from stuff like this. This is packing foam. A lot of people will tell you, oh no, you got to get the expensive XPS foam, the insulation foam. We will do video about that later on. But here's the thing. You've probably bought some kind of appliance recently that's got a whole bunch of this crap in it. Well, I'm going to show you how to real simple take something like this, snap it up, and turn it into a rock formation. So, let's go ahead and start on the first one. I've got several I'm working on in different stages so that we can get through this nice and quick. But we're going to start with first just getting a formation made. So, let's step over to the table. We'll set that bad boy up over there. Now then, another way of going about making rocks is to actually make them from clay. For example, this one. You can't really see it because it hasn't been painted yet, but I took a ball of aluminum, spread some clay around it, and got the clay dry. So that now I can paint it. It's a nice lightweight boulder that compared to one of the figures, it would be about like this big for one of them. But on the table, we have the pieces of foam that I have sectioned off from the big piece. This is going to be my base. I picked a nice sort of irregular shape for the base. And we're going to start by gluing these on. And then after they get dry is when we'll start shaping them. So, going to be using Mod Podge. Going to... Actually, you know what? I'm going to... Bear with me for 2 seconds. I'm going to switch to a larger brush. Here we go. So that we can get... some coverage, and I got these nice little cutoffs. Now the trick is, before you even start, get on Google, look at different types of rock formations, and come up with a little bit of a plan of sort of the type of formation that you want to go for. Because what I'm going to be working on here, you're going to see me doing several different varieties of rock formations. And also, you're going to want to look at colors, because rock formations come in all different kinds of colors. They can be browns, they can be grays. Some of them can actually have a little bit of a blue hint of color to them, which can be really neat. Now, I'm stacking these in a way, yeah, you can kind of see what I'm doing. Stacking them up nice and tall. And with just a little bit of rotation to the shape so that when it's dry, I can come in with a knife and some wire brushes, and we'll shape this up into a far more interesting type of formation. So, my other camera is out of service at the moment because the holder for it broke. But we're going to keep working on this. So, it's all glued, nice and good. I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to start slicing some pieces this way, getting it shaped more in the direction that I want. Take a gash out of it like that. And in case you're wondering, yes, I have a trash bag right here. So that you can experience the wonderful sounds there you see, I've got a nice, oh, it's kind of flat through here. Let me shape that up a little bit more. There, a nice column-esque piece. Now, I'm going to show you a different trick. On another piece, I'm showing you how I'm just painting over it. That was a bad mistake. I just squeezed a bag full of styrofoam, and it shot up all over me. Okay. So, on another piece, I'm showing you how I'm taking and just painting the exterior with black paint and Mod Podge. On this one, we're going to do something slightly different. And I know I can't really get on camera and show you too much. Paper towels. You can either get a cheap roll of paper towels from the dollar store like this. You can just steal a bunch from Taco Bell or Starbucks or wherever you're at and rip it up, not necessarily into pieces that small, but fairly small pieces. And then I'm going to lay that on there. Where's my... Sorry, I need to have my towel ready. Okay. Now I've got my Mod Podge mixed with the black paint down here. Now I'm going to take and paint the paper towel so that it attaches to my styrofoam. The moisture will cause it to start to stick. You'll end up with this surface that's actually textured fairly similar to a rock. Now I'm going to take more pieces of tissue paper, paper towels, and I'm going to cover the whole thing. So, let me do one more. And don't be afraid about these balls of styrofoam that are floating everywhere at the moment. Use them. Let them get in there. They'll make little pebble shapes. It'll add to the texture. Make it look a little more genuine. Let me get this on here. And again, you can, if you miss spots with the paper towel, that's fine. Just remember to make sure and get the styrofoam painted with the black paint and Mod Podge, or brown paint and Mod Podge, whatever color you choose to use, it doesn't matter. Just as long as you get the Mod Podge on there, or a couple of coats of school glue, because you want to protect it and help it to last as long as you can. So there, you see, it's starting to take on a slightly rocky texture. One thing I do is after I get enough on there is I paint in a particular, I pull the brush in a particular way so that it actually creates folds in the paper towel that will look more like the structure lines, like what you would see in a rock. So that later on, when we paint those, they will they'll look more like that sort of marble-y texture that rock naturally takes on. So we're going to keep working on this and move ahead to the next step. Oh, I almost forgot. You can take and mix sand with your Mod Podge and black paint, or you could take, and after you get that on there, in fact, I'll show you here on another piece in just a second, something like Epsom salt, if you want to get a certain type of texture on your piece, to get that. So just wanted to show you this part here real quick about the paper towel. I'm going to continue covering this piece, and I'm going to fix my camera. So, see you in just a minute. Okay, so this is a rock formation that I've already glued up. It's already ready. And I want to add a few more texture features. Now, I'm using things that you should be able to have at home, for example, a pair of scissors. I want to add some lines on this side, kind of coming down this way. So, I can just take and hit the foam like this. And I know you're not going to be able to see that because it's all white and white. Okay, if I hold it at that angle, you'll see it's kind of scuffed it up some. Or you can take a fork. In this case, I'm just going to use this plastic fork, and I'm going to just do this. Just pull at it so that it creates weird different shapes in the foam. Now, yes, you're going to end up with a mess of this foam all over the place. It's fine, because we're going to take and we're going to mix. This is a mix of Mod Podge and black paint. I use the black paint because Mod Podge is clear, and by using the black paint, it makes it so that I can see where I have painted, and I can get down into the areas a little better, and make sure that everything gets painted. And we are going to get everything absolutely covered. Now there's two reasons for this. One is it creates a protective barrier on the surface of the rock formation, so that if you decide you want to spray paint, and you absolutely can, you can't spray paint foam bare. You can only spray paint foam if it's got a protective layer over it. And so that's what the Mod Podge is going to do. You can use regular school glue, but you're going to want to do a couple of coats of that. Mod Podge is a little bit heavier than school glue. So, yeah, I'm being kind of messy getting it on the table. Don't really care. But yeah, you want the protective layer on there no matter what. And especially if you decide to spray paint. Do not spray paint foam unless you have put a Mod Podge layer. And it's not a bad idea if you can take the Mod Podge and mix it with some latex paint, kind of like the stuff that you use for painting the outside of your house. Which is what this is. This is actually mixed with latex paint. Oh, this is starting to get awkward. Because, I mean, it's not like my fingers aren't already completely covered in paint. But anyways, then when we come in with the next layer, I'm going to let that set. Next, we're going to be either painting a base of brown or gray in order to then do our washes and shades and that kind of thing over the top. So, by doing the coat, it just gets everything protected. It also creates the shadows so that later on when you've done your painting, if you missed a spot, it's already black down deep inside and nobody will notice. They'll just be like, oh, it's the shadows of the rock. Nobody's, it's that dark recess of the rock that is back there. So, gonna take a quick pause, and we'll come back and start working on the next step. Okay, so black paint and Mod Podge. The black Podge is dry. This is a mixture of black and white paint to get a gray with just a little bit of brown to give it a little bit of a warm vibe. This is just straight acrylic paint that we are going to cover everything in. You could, at this point, like I said, you can spray paint in order to get your coverage of the base coat, and I'd recommend going with something like a pavement or a charcoal, not necessarily black, but a dark gray color, because of what the next step is, which is basically going over it with progressively lighter shades of grays and browns and other stuff. Also going to show you one little trick here in just a minute that's going to be kind of neat to add some interesting detail if you want. One thing you could do if you've got some like silver glitter is at this point you could sprinkle in a little bit of silvery glitter. The reason being is a lot of that'll get covered up but you know, sometimes if you're looking at rocks, you'll see little bits of shiny little things coming through in the rocks, and it looks kind of cool, like there's little bits of crystal or something in the rock. So one thing you can do to add some levels of texture, if you got a silver metallic paint or gold, whatever you want to do, at this point take, and while your gray layer is still wet, get a real thin brush and just paint some little silvery streaks through here. Now, a lot of that is going to get covered up, but it'll help it blend in. It'll also create some dimension to your rocks. Try and have all your streaks of silver or gold or whatever it is. You could even do white if you want to do marbling. You could do that. This is just a little something to help add some interesting color variation. And in the end, you're barely going to even notice that this is here. But if you look close, you'll see it. So, going to set that to the side to dry. Get that cleaned up a little bit. And set that aside. I'm just going to throw those brushes into the cleaner for the moment. So, next we're going to start doing some dry brushing. Now, I've got Gray Fox, which is sort of a medium gray. We've got Timeless Gray, which is a light gray. And then we've got Toasted Marshmallow, which is a sort of dark white, off-white color. I've also got these two shades of brown. It's a medium brown and a light brown, which is where we are going to start. I'm going to get here we are. Let's get you a little further out of the way. My brushes, these are makeup brushes, but they are perfect for doing dry brushing. So, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this medium brown, put a little bit in my jar over here. I'm going to get just a little bit on the brush, and then I'm going to knock a lot of it off. And I'm going to just start going crazy. And yes, I am doing a heavy coat with this. Because in the end, I do want this to have more of a brown tone. Can't forget top bits. But you'll see what's happening is the recessed parts are not getting the same amount of color. Boop, boop, boop. Gotta be careful. And make sure and get the sides of the base. Okay. Get that good and clean. At this point, I'm going to switch to the gray fox. Which this gray fox actually has just a little bit of brown in it as well. And you can, if you can tell, this is already starting to knock that color back just a little. Okay, which that's looking good. Now I want to get a clean brush. I like this flat one here. And what I'm going to do is we're going to switch to the Timeless Gray, which is a light gray. And I'm going to just barely swipe across. And let it hit the high points. Like that. Okay. Now I'm going to take, and that light brown I have, whoop, I'm going to come over here, try and mix some in. just want a little bit of that right there. I'm going to let this light brown and that dark brown that we used a few minutes ago, let them mix just a little bit. And then knock even more off of here. And again, you kind of let the brush find where it wants to go. And this has given this rock a nice, cool, brown color. All right. Then I'm going to take and switch back to this brush. I'm going to get that marshmallow color, which is, like I said, it's a tan color. Maybe the camera can kind of pick it up in the bottle a little bit. But it's real bright. And this time, I'm going to hold the brush by the very tip, and I'm just going to tickle. Tickle. And here's the thing, at this point, you can switch back and forth between your different colors, between your grays, between your browns. If you feel like you've gone a little too bright, maybe use those browns to sort of saturate back in there. Knock some of that color back. But I'm thinking that's looking pretty good. So the last thing to do is the black wash. Now, for a black wash, we can actually keep using one of these brushes. This is basically, it's mostly black paint with a little bit of brown mixed into it and a lot of water. You'll see it's very drippy, very watery, and what you might want to do is put it on there. In fact, this is... Let's pause. Okay, sorry. I realized that my black wash needed some more water in it. It was very, very goopy. So, it is still very, very thick, but that's one of the things you have to kind of learn. As you go. Here we go. Now, this is thin enough. I can just brush this on. Not have to worry about the thickness. Now, I'll probably still want to take and come back with the light gray and hit some highlights on this, bring some of the highlights back out, because this black wash, it's definitely going to tone everything down a little bit, which is fine, but it's going to definitely help create some texture on this. As it dries. And yes, this is a messy job. So, I'm going to do one more. I've got one more rock. Over here that is ready. For paint. Now this one I'm going to be real light-handed with. And like that. And then I got my little boulder here. Give it a little mix brushing with the gray and the brown. And yeah, I'm gonna get the black. I'm gonna let these sit for a little bit. Like I said, I'm probably gonna re-hit this one with some highlights, but it's already looking really good. There we go. So, one last check-in. Okay, we are on to the last step. We are going to do a brown wash over. I did do re-hit the highlights on this, by the way, and got the light color, the light gray and the white marshmallow. So this is water mixed with a medium brown, a light brown, and a gold, a metallic gold. The reason I do that is just to give it a little bit of that sort of golden shimmer that a lot of rocks actually have to them. You do have to kind of keep mixing this up as you go, because the pigment will settle at the bottom. So I'm just going to real liberally run this over the surface of my rock. Like this. Because when I set this down, what'll happen is all the brown paint will start running downwards, which will give it a naturally weathered kind of look, so that it'll be heavier in certain areas and more gray in other areas. So after this dries, you can go back in with your highlights and do that again. You can do another coat. That's one thing with rocks. Doing multiple layers actually kind of helps to give it more depth of look, to make it more realistic looking. Because rocks aren't just a single color. They are multicolored, as I've demonstrated with my big hefty a few times. There's all kinds of different layers and colors and things going on in there. And you can absolutely take different colors and just paint in stripes and streaks on your stuff to get some variety, and I've done some of that on some of the others. So we're going to let this dry, and once that's done, we'll do a final look, because I know this video is getting to be like an hour long at this point. I don't think it's that long, but going to be right back after I might do a secondary coat of wash after. I'll let you know when we come back, but usually one to do it, two at the, is the most you need. So, all right, let's finish this up. Okay, so there we are. Got some some finished rocks for you. I did re-hit them with the highlight colors just to help bring that out a little bit more. But like I said, do multiple layers, add more washes, add more highlights, dry brushing, etc. Until it gets to where you like it, and you should be good to go. So, thank you again for joining me on this journey. I didn't mean to make the longest video that I've ever made. Maybe not the longest video, but this is definitely getting ridiculous. But get out, make you some rocks for your figures to walk around amongst and be like, ooh, rocks, and it'll be cool. So get out, make something, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell icon. If you want to support me, you can find me on Patreon, or go over to Zazzle for prints of my artwork, t-shirts, and other cool stuff. If you're still here, why? Do you want to jam out?